Beyoncé was right when she said, "Who runs the world? Girls," because women are holding major roles in huge companies around the world. From technology to candy companies, these women have an impressive collective portfolio. If you are a first-time viewer, click the red subscribe button and enjoy. Today we are discussing 10 of the richest women in the world. Jocelyn Wildenstein, 500 million. Jocelyn Wildenstein, better known as Catwoman, has had some hiccups in her life. She was once married to billionaire Alec Wildenstein, who had a fascination with cats. So much so that when Jocelyn thought her husband was no longer interested, she started to alter her face to have more feline features. In the end, Jocelyn spent $4 million on plastic surgery, and her husband divorced her for frivolous spending habits. She received a $2.5 billion divorce settlement, along with a $100 million a year for 13 years in alimony. Margarita LouisDreyfus, 5.2 billion. Growing up in Russia, Margarita LouisDreyfus didn't have the lavish life she does now. Her life changed dramatically in 1988 when she met her late husband, Robert LouisDreyfus, on an airplane. Robert, cousin to famous actor Julia Louis-Dreyfus, was a French billionaire who made a fortune rescuing troubled companies. In 2009, Robert passed away from leukemia and left his wife in charge of his business. She has had to fight her way through the male-driven business world, but has become a well-respected businesswoman. Sandra Ortega Mara, 6.7 billion. Sandra Ortega Mara is the daughter of the world's second most rich person, Amancio Ortega. You may know her father is the owner of the large clothing chain Zara. Though her father is a big wig in the wealth world, Mara inherited her money when her mother passed away suddenly in 2013. Sandra has no part in operating Zara. She chooses to run her late mother's non-profit organization. Fondation Paideia is a non-profit that focuses on helping mentally and physically disabled people acquire skills that can land them mainstream jobs. Kathryn Rainer, 7.8 billion. Kathryn Rainer has her family to thank for her 7.8 billion fortune. Her grandfather founded Cox Enterprises, an automotive and media conglomerate, in the late 1800s. She splits 50% of the company with her two siblings, while her mother, Anne Cox Chambers, holds the majority of 49%. Though the family members are the major stock owners of Cox Enterprises, they have never had active roles. Kathryn instead chooses to spend her time in more philanthropic roles. She is on the board of Morgan Public Library, the New York Public Library, and the Animal Rescue Fund. Charlene de Carvalho Heineken, 12.1 billion. Charlene de Carvalho Heineken went from housewife to businesswoman in the matter of a week. After her father passed away in 2002, he left 25% stake of his brewing company, Heineken, to his daughter Charlene. She then became the majority stakeholder in the company and the new CEO. She stepped into the role of CEO of the third largest brewing company in the world without any formal training. She quickly got to work learning the ins and outs of her family's business and has had impressive success. Laurene Powell Jobs, 20.5 billion. Mostly known as the widow of the late Steve Jobs, Laurene Powell Jobs was left billions after he passed away in 2011. The bulk of her billions come from her stake in Disney that Steve acquired when he sold animation studio Pixar to the company in 2006. She also holds a small share in Apple, which Steve Jobs helped co-found in the 70s. Though her husband was practically a god in Silicon Valley, Laurene had an impressive background. She perused many of her own interests and started several non-profits that helped less fortunate children get quality educations. Maria Franca Fasulo, 22.1 billion. Maria Franca Fasulo earned her billions from her late husband's company, Ferrero Spa. The name may not sound familiar, but you are probably a fan of some of their products. Ferrero Spa is the creator of Ferrero Rocher chocolates, Kinder chocolates, and Nutella. It is the second largest confectionery company in Europe. So, in 2015, when her husband passed away, he left his delicious empire in her hands, along with the billions that came with it. Jacqueline Mars, 31.8 billion. Another woman cashing in on the world's sweet tooth is Jacqueline Mars. Mars is the co-owner of Mars, the world's largest candy company. Chances are you've heard of a few of their brands like Twix, Skittles, M&M's, and Milky Way. When she isn't busy supplying goodies to the masses, Jacqueline keeps busy with cultural endeavors. She is a trustee of the U.S. equestrian team and sits on the board of the Washington National Opera. Alice Walton, 32.6 billion. Thanks to being the daughter of Sam Walton, the guy who founded Walmart, Alice Walton is the 13th wealthiest person in the world. Unlike her siblings, Alice doesn't have an active role in her father's company. Instead, she focuses on collecting and curating art. Her art collection includes pieces from Andy Warhol, Norman Rockwell, and Georgia O'Keeffe. She has even chosen to donate pieces from her personal collection worth millions to museums so everyone can enjoy the masterpieces. Lillian Bettencourt, $36.4 billion. She's the richest woman in Europe and the sole heir to the L'Oreal fortune. Lillian Bettencourt is a socialite, philanthropist, and a businesswoman from France. When her father Eugene Schuler passed away in 1957, Lillian inherited the cosmetic company L'Oreal's fortune. She acted on the company's board until 2012 when she was forced to resign. She also started La Fondation Bettencourt Schuler, which supports and develops medical, cultural, and humanitarian projects with an annual budget of over $160 million. What do you think of these richest women in the world? React in the comment section below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the taco.